Welcome to class tonight. We are going to be continuing our work with geometry by learning about special pairs of angles. Now, yesterday we learned about right angles and straight angles, and tonight specifically, we are going to be expanding upon that work. Now, we're going to be learning two specific new terms tonight. The first term is going to be complementary. Now, complementary simply has the idea, you can see right here, is two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So on this example, you see 40 plus 50 is going to equal 90 degrees. So those are complementary angles, two angles that add up to 90. Similarly to complementary angles, we have what's called supplementary angles. Now, supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. Now, you guys should remember this right here looks a lot like a straight angle because it is. Remember, a straight angle has 180 degrees in it. So, two angles that add up to 180 degrees are what are called supplementary. So, we have 100 plus 80 is going to be 180. So, that's the most basic thing. Complementary angles, two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles, two angles that add up to 180 degrees. Alright, so we can use these ideas of complementary and supplementary to find missing angles. So I have a complementary set of angles. Okay? Complementary set of angles. Now this angle right here is already measured as 60 degrees, and now this right here, I need to know what that is. So all I have to do is use my understanding of complementary angles to realize that, all I have to do is they add up to 90 degrees, so if I just subtract 60 degrees, I would get 30 degrees, and there I have my answer. Now the book, and I do want to show you this, the book shows it the algebraic way. They're going to show it like this. X plus 60 is going to equal 90. So for example, the missing angle plus 60 degrees is going to equal 90 degrees. So from our algebraic work, we know that we have to subtract this, so it would be x plus 60 minus 60 equals 90 minus 60. So we have x equals 30 degrees. So that is an example of complementary angles. The next, I have an example of supplementary angles. Once again, we're going to find the missing angle. Now with this one, we're just going to do straight algebraic. So we see right here, this angle is 110 degrees, and this angle is x. So we need to find x. So all we have to do is hit x plus 110 equals 180, because these two angles together equal 180. Now I need to subtract that, so x plus 110 minus 110 is going to equal 180 minus 110. So we have x equals 70 degrees. So x is going to be equal 70 degrees. So once again, we can use this knowledge to find missing angles. Alright, next we're going to learn two more specific groups of lines. Okay, so we're going to call these groups, these are angles or groups of lines. First one we're going to learn is about vertical angles, and you see it on the board. Now, a vertical angle is simply when two lines cross, when they intersect, and it makes opposite angles are equal or congruent. This is a very important word, congruent. We're going to be using it a lot in class. Congruent simply has the idea of equals or is the same. So on this vertical angle, I see this angle and this angle are opposites. That means in this vertical angle they are congruent, or meaning they are the same. Same idea with this right here. I see 2 and I see 1. So both 2 and 1 are going to be congruent or the same. And finally, we're going to talk about what's called a transversal. Now, a transversal is simply a line that crosses two or more lines at different points. So on my example right here, this line right here crosses this line and this line at different points. So that's what we call a transversal. Now, transversals form lots of interesting angles, and we have names for these angles. So simply, angles outside the lines are what we call exterior angles. And so you see 4 and 3 are going to be exterior angles, and you can also say those ones right there, 5 and 6, are also going to be exterior angles. Interior angles are simply going to be inside the line. So we see 1 and 2, and then 8 and 7 are going to be inside the line, so we call those interior angles. Now, the cool thing about these types of angles is that we can use our knowledge of complementary, and specifically in this case, supplementary angles, to find some missing angles. So for example, right here, I'll go ahead and erase this to make this a little clearer. Right here, if I happen to know this measurement, I can use my knowledge of supplementary angles to know that this angle plus this angle are going to equal 180 degrees, and so if I know angle 6, I can find angle 5 very, very quickly. And so on and so forth, and I can find angle 8, and on and on. So, using your knowledge of complementary and supplementary angles is very, very helpful. Alright, the last thing we're going to do tonight is practice a little bit. Now you can see at the very bottom of your screen, this is on page 388, you see an example, example 3. We're going to work through that very, very quickly. Now, we're looking at these lines, and it might be hard to see in this video, so I would definitely encourage you to look in your books. In this video, you see line there, line there, line there, so you see that transversal crossing these two lines here. Now, what we're going to look at is, let's go ahead and answer these questions. It says a pair of acute vertical angles. Now remember, vertical angles has the idea of two lines that cross, and when they cross, they have the opposite angles are the same. So 2 and 4 are going to be acute vertical angles. They're small angles, smaller than 90 degrees, and they are the same. Opposite angles are the same. You could technically, now I know this isn't named, but you could technically say 3, and then whatever this angle right here would be as well, would also be a vertical angle. It would be a pair of acute vertical angles. Next one, two supplementary interior angles. Now supplementary has the idea of two angles, when they add up, it equals 180 degrees. So, right here, two supplementary interior angles, so we're looking at angles inside, so we see 3 and then 5. 3 and 5 are supplementary angles, and they are interior angles. You could also say, if that angle was named, you could have that one would also be a supplementary interior angle. Now let's go and check this use the check understanding. First of all, letter A pair of obtuse vertical angles. Obtuse has the idea of larger than 90 degrees, and vertical has the idea of opposites are the same. So we see right here, 3 and then 6. 3 is an obtuse angle, and then opposite is going to be another obtuse angle, so 3 and 6 are obtuse vertical angles. Same thing with 1, and if this was ever named, this angle was named, that would be the exact same thing. Last one, letter B, a pair of supplementary angles, okay? A pair of supplementary angles, there are many of these. You could probably pick from many of these, but very simply, you could say 6 and 2 are supplementary angles. If you were to add that angle together, you would get 180 degrees. Same thing with really 6 and 5. 6 and 5 are going to be supplementary angles. 1 and 2, 1 and 4. There are going to be many examples of supplementary angle, or pairs of supplementary angles. Alright, so that is the lesson for tonight. Now, obviously, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know over email or another way, or whatever way works best for you. I do think this makes sense. It's going to take a little bit of work, but obviously, with the work tonight and then the work tomorrow, I think you guys have a great chance of understanding this very, very quickly. Tonight, your homework is going to be page 388, 1 through 12 even. Once again, page 388. 1 through 12 even. Make sure you get that completed and bring that into class. Alright, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all tomorrow.